I am no fan of James Comey. I personally think that he violated the most important rules of the Department of Justice when he single-handedly handed Donald Trump the election in 2016. He destroyed Hillary Clinton and retracted when it was too late. So I'm not a fan of his, but I don't think he should be indicted on false and insufficient evidence and the law that does not justify his election, his indictment. Sorry. I think that it's an outrage that he's doing this. I think Donald Trump promised that he was going to be a retributive president, and he is now taking his retribution against someone who he perceives did him wrong, which he didn't. James Comey, in the Russia investigation, had the proper predicate, did a legitimate investigation. There is nothing wrong with that. I want to also point out that not only did Donald Trump instruct his U.S. attorney and his attorney general to get this done, and they only had until next Tuesday because the statute of limitations was about to run. They did nothing for the first 8 months of the administration. The Biden administration, of course, did nothing because there was nothing to be done. And he made the order that they get it done. The U.S. attorney said the law and the facts don't support it. That was the appointed by Donald Trump, Eric Siebert. So he was fired. He says he resigned. Donald Trump says, I fired him. If he didn't get fired, he was certainly forced to resign. So now Donald Trump puts in a totally unqualified person, a lawyer with no federal experience, no prosecution experience, either at a state level or a federal level, practiced insurance law in Florida and represented Donald Trump. So another Trump lawyer gets into the Department of Justice as the acting or interim U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, and she does it. I want you to hear the press release that she issued, and the only important thing in it is the charges as alleged in this case represent a breach of the public trust at an extraordinary level, said U.S. Attorney Halligan. That's the only important thing, is that she's the only one who would say that probably no one in her office was willing to say that. But even worse is the statements issued by Pamela Bondi and Kash Patel. It's such hypocritical nonsense. Bondi says that he was misleading the American people and weaponizing the Department of Justice. And that's what they are going to be doing at the Department of Justice now, is to end that. They are weaponizing the Department of Justice by bringing this case. Patel said, today, your FBI took another step in its promise of full accountability. For far too long, previous corrupt leadership and their enablers weaponized federal law enforcement. That is so not true. There's not a single example of weaponization by the Biden administration, and there are tons of examples of weaponization. The threat to indict Letitia James, Senator Schiff, or as Donald Trump says, Shifty Schiff, the threats against Comey, these are things that are serious invasions of the propriety of the Department of Justice. I hope they will stop, and the only way they will is when Donald Trump, is no longer in office. We must see that that gets done.